Hello and welcome to our show, Midwest Weekly, starring myself, Hairwiz, and my co-host, CLT. We are here to give you a breakdown of Week 7 action across the LOL Midwest Sweat League, as well as a little bit of a breakdown of the last 2 weeks we missed, that being Week 5 and Week 6. We do apologize for not being able to cover those games in detail as much, as we will not be able to do that today, but we will give you just a little bit of an understanding of what happened. I would also like to dedicate this episode to suicide prevention and mental health. Please stick around at the end. I would like to talk about the topic on a little bit of a personal level. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and get started because I don't want this episode to be too long, but I do expect it to drag just a bit. So, CLT, let's go ahead and start off here with just a breakdown of that Week 5, which we know was a crazy week, as we had four series go to Game 3. And we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about Small Brain No Mechanics and Sad Jellyfish. If it'll let me click on it. Hello? Okay. Never mind. Okay, there it goes. I was like, wait, is it not working all of a sudden? It was just being slow. But of course, I don't see any game. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Oh my goodness, this is absurdity.
What a time for an internet lag.
Yeah, for real. It's crazy. But anyways, so getting back on topic here. Yeah, this series was a rough series for Small Brains. Sad Jellyfish kind of picking up where they left off as far as last split against Small Brains, and just pretty much dominating them across the board. It was a really, really good performance overall by just the overall team. But the big performances of note, Sean T had 14 kills in Game 1, and the Thresh was just really doing whatever it wanted. Marquiti was roaming the map, was finding plays, finding hooks, and just kind of pretty much just straight dominance, like I said. I mean, the only bright spot I can kind of remember was Vic doing okay top lane against the Gnar. It was the Gragas Gnar matchup, but other than that, it was pretty much just a wipe. So even though the game went 30 minutes almost. So Game 2, and yeah, I did play in this series. Last series I played in. Yeah, Game 2, it was similar situation. Shanti, once again, really, really dominating performance on the Ezreal here. No deaths in the game. Just did whatever he wanted. And Salt as well. Salt's the MVP for a reason. Really, really good game. Again, there were some small bright spots in this game before the start of Small Brain. I would say really the early game, there were some really good plays, but we got a bit over aggressive and we got punished for it. So I remember that specifically, and seeing that's the last series I played, I definitely won't forget that for a bit here. But yeah, it was a little rough there. I know you casted this one, CLT. Was there anything you wanted to touch on, or are we good to move on?
No, I mean, this was a pretty hyped up matchup. I think both of you guys were undefeated coming into this, and Sad Jellyfish just showed how strong of leaners they are. I know Dippy just absolutely is a rock up there, and I know Vic is performed very well even in the last 2 weeks of the season. But Dippy and Salt, like, those are two really, really tough laners to go into, and Salt actually showed a little different wrinkle in his champion pool, bringing out the Anivia and the Xerath. So I thought those stood out quite a bit, and they were so stable that then Marquiti on Thresh and on Bard could kind of put Shanti in a position that he could be alone and weak side a little bit, and then he just goes and affects the rest of the map. But no, overall it was still a very entertaining series, and both teams, I mean, played really well. It was just Sad Jellyfish definitely put themselves in the right position and capitalized on it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the next one real quick here. We had the Summoner's Drift versus Boomer Squad. I'm trying to remember. I remember. Did I cast this? I think I casted this one too. It's been it's been a while. I kind of recognize some of the champions here. Boomer Squad did end up winning this series overall. It was the only other 2-0 we had this week, and from what I really don't. I don't know if I watched this. No, I didn't actually. I didn't. I caught glimpses of the game because somebody else casted, I think. But Server Day went off. I remember that him having unbelievable performance on the Olaf, but just wasn't able to. He wasn't able to carry more harder than Bore in this game, and that was the big thing. Also, the Ziggs has been so annoying to see from anybody that can play that bot lane. Now we are, I think, in a new meta where we won't see that as much, and I believe AP champions are getting nerfed down there too. So I'm really excited to not see that, especially for playoffs. But I do know at this point in the season, when we were in the middle of the season, week 5, the Ziggs was overpowered as far as being in the bot lane, and it showed with his score of 16-3-9. As far as game 2, was kind of the opposite of the first game, where it was close, and this one just was kind of a blowout. Like, Boomer Squad they said, hey, you guys had an opportunity to beat us, but we're just going to end this series now, and they got themselves a quick 24-minute win. Something else to know, Victor Apple played Sejuani twice, top lane, which I like it. It's different. So that's really all I have to note. Obviously, Bore had another good game here. He's been very good most of the season. Tang as well. So nothing unusual, though I do see double 80 carry. Was that still a meta at the time? I feel like by week 5 it wasn't double 80 carry meta, was it anymore?
Well, note that Bori, even though he picked an 80 carry, he went definitely more of an AP build.
He did it. Didn't even recognize the items. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, no, Bori in this series played super well, but he played super backliney poke style champions in the AP Kai'Sa and the Ziggs, and I just don't think Summoner's Drift had enough hard engage to get into their comps both games. Plus, you're trying to go through Sejuani, Thresh, Fi to get to the double carry, so that's a lot of stuff to try and poke through.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I will jump over to the next one here. And it was Denver Nuggets versus Scorch. Scorch ended up pulling this off in 3. I don't remember who casted this one. So yeah, I remember casting series this week, but I just do not know which ones I casted because it's been a while. I feel like I might have casted this one. You didn't cast this series, did you?
No, I did not.
That was probably me, unless it was the boys. The boys casted the series for us too that week.
I think they might have covered this series.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, this one's not coming to mind, unfortunately.
I am recognizing again, the champs though, from the last week where I was able to put full attention to things. Where I'm okay, I remember them playing these comps a bit. So, but yeah, as far as this one, so the game 1, this was a Scorch victory here in game 1, and the only thing, nothing really unusual from either side. If you look at the comps, pretty standard across the board. There was a bit of a bot lane gap in the first game. Boonstra absolutely went off on the Jinx compared to this Ashe, who had a rough game. As far as the rest of the map for Denver Nuggets, they really didn't get much done, it seems, or that I can remember. Was there anything you noted from game 1 at all that you can recall?
No. I mean, looking at the comps, I felt like Fiora got a lot of resources. I mean, doing 42% of her team's damage is quite a bit, even for a top laner. But no TP on mid Echo, and Echo really has a lot of CC he has to go through, plus Milio shields. I just don't. We haven't really seen assassins do a lot in the league this split, so that kind of stands out for me. I'm curious where that was picked in the draft.
Really low DPS too. I mean, he only did 5,000 damage in the whole game, so the lowest on his team. Well, actually, yeah, it was lower than even his support. So it's a bit rough. Tem definitely quite the opposite. It was 25% of his team's damage. So it was a bit of a mid diff there too in that aspect. But of course, there was a game two, and in the game two, we see that Denver Nuggets was able to get a victory back for themselves. And this top player here, man, I've gotten to know this guy a little bit. He's a pretty cool guy. Dude popped off. I know he was playing support early on in the season, but he wanted to lane swap because this was his main role. And yeah, he shows why this is his main role. 16, 5, and 7 on that Wukong. It's just absurd. 40% of his team's damage, nearly 50,000 damage in the game. And poor Ares had himself not a fun Mundo game when you look at how many times he died.
Yeah, this might have been like the second loss for Mundo, if I can remember correctly, in the league. Like Mundo's got a pretty good win rate.
Yeah, been very, very strong, very OP. And again, and you're not. I don't really see anything that's too out of the ordinary. One thing though, I'd like to note about Denver Nuggets comp is the fact that they ended up going Blitzcrank Swain bot lane. Kind of interesting to me because I wouldn't really imagine that would be what you want with Swain. But maybe they took the Swain because they know that Boonstra likes to play it. And maybe that's why they snagged it right there. I'm not for sure. You know, I wasn't there that day to speak on it 100%, but definitely something interesting. He did have a good game on it though. Parnara went off 9-2-10. Very good score line, 22% of his team's damage. So good performance by him, and they were able to get themselves a win there in game 2. And then we got to game 3 where Scorch was able to pull that out and get themselves another win in the win column. And once again, I'm just kind of reviewing these comps again, and pretty standard mostly across the board. You know, nothing unusual, no exciting, funny picks. But Rusty, I think, did Rusty play? Hold up. Okay, he played it twice. I thought he played it 3 times in a row. So he played the Maokai twice. I'm like, did he play that stuff three times?
No, it looked like it got banned in the second phase there for game 2.
Yeah. He played the Kindred. Okay. Yeah, because Rusty loves his tanks. He's big on his Mumu. Obviously Maokai is up there as well, and I'm not surprised that they won when he's playing one of those types of picks. I mean, 2-1 and 17 is a really, really good score for Maokai jungle here. And it was kind of just again, like a Jinx comp like game 1, and that seemed to be their bread and butter in this series, and was the big reason to me, from what I'm looking at, why they ended up pulling it off, along with, of course, the Orianna. I mean, Orianna comps are pretty rough to deal with. When you have Maokai and Ornn to set up the Orianna, it's pretty free.
Yeah, and also Ornn got like a lot of experience at level 17 here, so I'd imagine the Ornn items came into play quite quickly in the last team fight.
Yeah, definitely. I can only imagine that's definitely the case. All right, we'll jump over here. We'll go here to Group B. So Group B, this is actually, and sadly to say this is the last time, and I don't have anything for this game, which is annoying, but I probably find it somewhere. But we can kind of just touch on it real quick. This was the last time that Team L played a series, because they actually forfeited the last 2 weeks. And I've always spoke about this. I don't like forfeits if we don't have to have them. And I don't know what happened with them, but I'm going to assume they're probably not going to be returning next split, which is always sad to see. But I'm also like to say, if their experience was bad, I apologize for any of that. But at the same point, you know, this is a league that's pretty laxed. So, you know, if they would have communicated anything with me or with Havoc, I'm sure we could have fixed any issues they were having. But I never got any communication. So, I just want to say, if they happen to watch this, which I doubt they will, only because it just seems like they checked out, that I am sorry for their situation. On the other side of things, though, big back laners, we already know how they've been this split. They have the future MVP on their team. Whether or not it's true or not is irrelevant. He's been very excellent in the bot lane. So Are you able to pull anything up for that, or should I just move on to the next?
Um, yeah, let's. I think we can just move on for
I'll
that
move
one.
on.
I don't have a point of reference for that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
me neither. I don't know why some of these games don't track, but the games that do track, ladies and gentlemen, Washed Up Gamers vs Team 2. And I should also say I have the VODs saved, and I could pull them up, but guys, we don't have all that time to really go through everything in depth, like I said, and that's why I'm apologizing ahead of time. This is just at least a quick rundown. At least if you didn't know what happened, now you kind of have an idea of what happened to some degree. I guess you could just look it up yourself too if you wanted to, but here we are. So this was Washed Up Gamers versus Team 2, and man, Soup on a Mumu again. Why does anybody let that guy get soup? Let that guy get soup. Let that guy get a Mumu. Don't let that guy get soup, guys. All right, he's gonna make himself some chicken noodles. All right. But yeah, I don't know why anyone lets him get a Mumu. It feels like every time he gets a Mumu, it's a free game for Washed Up Gamers.
Yeah, they perform really well when they let Soup have a Mumu or just overall have the tools to like start a fight and then let his team come to him and back him up. Um, I do remember a little bit of this series. I think I did catch the stream for this one.
Yeah, I remember casting this one actually too.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember everything in the game, but I remember making a joke about Yukolovich in the game and stuff. So, not making fun of him. It's just about his name because I'd be struggling saying names and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, clarifying.
Uh-huh.
Nobody thinks I'm shit talking a player. It's far from it. But yeah, I mean, this is a fun games right here, and you see, Geico did everything he could to carry this game, and I remember that too. Yeah, I remember that too. Like he was popping off, but like it didn't matter how much he was popping off. They had too much of a lead, I believe is what it was. Like Watch the Gamers had enough of a lead to where it just did not matter, and they were finally able to shut down Geico in like one or two of these fights, and then once that happened, it was pretty much the game just fell apart, and I do remember Alves struggling a lot on this Wukong because what it was, I think it was the Wukong couldn't get any early ganks off, and the Soup was just gank after gank after gank after gank. Like I think he literally went bot mid top or something like back to back to back. Like this guy just did nothing but gank. By the time the Wukong even got to be a part of anything, the Mumu was already so far ahead, and it just broke the game. And that's not even talking about Smoles having also an awesome performance on the Talia. So. Yeah, it was definitely a game. Game 2, that went to Team 2, and this was the Litton Geico show, if I remember correctly. They just did whatever they wanted, and Litton was subbing in for this. He was on the team last split, but he wasn't on the team this split. He was subbing in, and it's like he never left, man. And it was just him and Geico synergy is just insane. Absolutely insane, and they did whatever they wanted with whoever they wanted in that game too. It was just ridiculous. Though I was thrown with why Smoles decided to pick Annie. That really confused me. I remember thinking that to myself.
I mean, the Annie kind of makes sense if she saves stun for like Aurelia or if Geico just comes in. But if you're engaging with Annie and like Litton or Aurelia even sees it coming with like W, or Alves gets a spell shield off, I feel like that's a rough engage. Also, I feel like the lane and the Victor, she just kind of get poked out, and with no TP on Annie, I would think it'd be safe to assume that she had a really bad back she was forced into, and that got her behind a little.
Yeah, I mean, and the big thing too, Alves had a much better game here. Kind of redeemed himself, picking one of his more AP-centric picks. Had a lot of success on it. I do remember watching it and going, I can see that Morg jungle isn't as strong as it used to be, but when you're seasoned on it, you've practiced on it a lot, like it can certainly still work. And Alves showed that with the mastery of the Morgana jungle.
He's been putting in a lot of work on that.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was a good performance by him. That's what I liked about the series. I remember just the back and forth and seeing the junglers kind of being more impactful here, and then the next one being more impactful the next game. It was really fun to watch between the two of them. But like I said, it was really just more or less the Geico Litton show. So, and they just did whatever they wanted. Then we had Game 3, and yeah,
this was the Zelda show. If I remember correctly.
If there's another show, the sequel was the Zelda show. Yeah, I know he got like a triple or a quadra this game too. I remember, like, it was insane. The Neferi was disgusting, and I didn't expect it to be as strong as it was. But a big part of that also was, again, going back to Alves. He pulls out another one of his AP junglers, and it was the Rumble, which he's very good at. And that was a lot of why I think Zelda had some success he had with the ganks early from Alves, the setup from the Rumble ulti, the equalizer, and then just let Zelda do whatever Zelda wants to do.
This is the kind of comp that like you play an assassin with, because even if he makes a bad decision, you've got Shen in his back pocket as well.
Yeah, and there was numerous times that Shen was ulting Alves or ulting Zelda for a play, and they would just get in. The Shen pick was actually definitely huge in that game. On the flip side, I don't think Wash Up Gamers really had much they could do. Soup was like trying to find little plays here with Smalls, but unfortunately the bot lane was so far behind, didn't have a lot of damage coming out of this Ezreal. Obviously, we all know Senna needs time to scale, and she certainly wasn't there yet. And the Gangplank, even though it's a weak side champion, I think it needed actually help in this game, because once Souls fell behind, it was unplayable for him. So it was definitely a fun series to watch. I think this game was a little more anticlimactic compared to the first two games, but it still was nice to see another series going to 3 games.
Yeah.
So we'll knock out this last game real quick after it's done loading. Loading. And that was Zoomers versus Load the Cannons. Hopefully this stuff actually saved. I don't know if it did. Game 1 is not in here. Okay.
Interesting. I see game 1, but I do not see game 2.
Oh, you do see game 1. Okay, well then you could talk about game 1 a little bit if you'd like. Let the people know what happened in game 1. I'll just hover it. I don't know why it's not showing up.
No, it's all good. Game 1, Zoomers kind of had a really interesting comp here. York top, Briar jungle, and then Seraphine Swain bot lane. I think we've seen Swain quite a bit, but at support, I don't think we've seen that often this split. And then Load the Cannons just had a very just standard comp. Looks like it's Orianna with a couple ball delivery systems. But judging from like the damage and just some of the kill death ratios, it looks like Zoomers just got off the ground much earlier in the game, which those type of AD comps, they can really snowball really fast, and ended up taking that game 1. It was about a 20-minute victory. Looks like CC Star on this York top did quite a bit of damage, and then Standby and After Pack. I wouldn't be surprised if they just roamed around the map doing a boatload of just annoyance and damage overall. But I know Jason Ori is pretty Jace favored if he can get off the ground.
Gotcha. So Zoomers did win game 1 though?
Zoomers did win game 1, yes.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh, there's a screenshot right here. I could have just opened this up, dude. What a genius! I didn't even see this. Yeah, now I see what you're talking about. That's crazy.
Huh.
I can show the freaking stuff. What a weird system this is sometimes. Next split, guys. 100%. I'm gonna put it in the rules. Just keep this in mind. We're definitely just gonna have you guys take screenshots of your games and post them here manually, because I don't know what's up with this system, but I'm just tired of dealing with there's not always info there for the games. Even if Battlefy doesn't track the stats, I don't even care about that. I just want the game so we can cover them. We can cover your stats and stuff. So, that's crazy. I did not see that the whole time. Alright, so game 2 then.
I got nothing on game 2.
You got nothing what is going on?
It shows me that Zoomers wins, but I click on it. There's like no breakdown of champions or anything.
So wait a second.
So
If Zoomers can't win 2 games in a row though, so I'm thinking that what actually happened is I'm gonna have to actually touch on this. What's showing as game three, but it's not game three. I'm going to assume that this was Low the Cannon's game two victory then, because
that's probably accurate. Yeah,
yeah,
I think it's a safe assumption.
So we'll go into what I think was game two, which where Loaded Cannons ended up winning game two here. Trying to remember.
I like this. I like
Yeah,
this
I
Logan
like this kind.
Kennedy comp
I
better.
feel and I feel like I remember casting this series too. By the way, I'm like my brain's kind of coming back because I remember going standby on the Briar, and that was the big thing. I was like, I hadn't seen that be effective, but he played the Briar, especially in that game one you just talked about. Now that I'm kind of remembering a little bit, he played it very effectively, and then he got it here in the next game, and I remember Rel just like doing whatever Rel wanted to do, which I'm not surprised by because it's you know
Well, we'll touch
the
on
Rel champion.
Rel in week 7.
Yeah, we'll touch upon it. Yeah, it's just what a disgusting champion. But yeah, and Esco had a really nice game. He did die a decent amount of times, but he still did really well. 23% of his team's damage, while in the mid lane, which was Rarika for clarification, had done 36% of his team's damage. Really nice game by him on the Talia, and they were able to win this game. I don't remember this support Amumu with Brand. I don't remember that, but then again, I have actually I kind of do. I do kind of remember it now, and I remember going, "That's weird," because again, like I mean, it's not that it's bad. It's just sometimes we be drafting funny bot lanes. Why Amumu with Brand? In theory, it's a great idea. It's a lot of damage, a lot of CC, but I feel like there's better things you can draft.
I think it's better into more immobile AD carries like Lucian Rel. I think can dance around the fight and pick
Yeah.
their engagements more.
Yep.
Um,
Well, let's talk about the last one then, and that was um hold up.
I think that was it.
No, there's game one and game two. I'm just confused looking at something here. Okay, so game one was the Briar showing for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then I guess game three is this game? Which did he play Briar all 3 games? He might have.
I'll let you take the wheel on this. Game 1 and Game 3 work for me. I see Briar, but if I click on Game 2, it's nothing.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am even gonna try to break it down at this point. I'm so lost. My brain is confused on what is happening. But point is, and I apologize for the confusion, but it's you guys see on my screen at least because I'm showing you in the recording. Nothing's making sense. Point is, in the end, they did win the series. I'm not gonna stay stuck on this, otherwise it's gonna continue forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump on over to week 6. So sorry for not the greatest breakdown there, guys. But yeah, so here we had week 6. I at this point had taken my time away, so I don't really know as much about week 6. So I'll go ahead and I'll click on Small Brains versus Boomer Squad. I'll let you kind of touch on it, and then I'll just kind of follow up with anything else.
Yeah, Small Brains versus Boomer Squad. Game 1, it was a lot of scaling and just zone control versus a lot of just it was hard engage, but it was only really hard engage for Malphite. Like I don't really consider Yone hard engage. But all in all, Stanny did really well in his Vagar. It's one of the few times I actually seen like Vagar pop off. He absorbed a boatload of pressure, and in a lot of these fights, he got a boatload of stacks and a lot of gold from it. So ultimately, they ended up getting to late game status with Sivir, and Small Brains ends up taking game 1. They just had a lot more wave control too, with Sivir Vagar. So, and then kind of going over the game 2, Boomer Squad picked way more of like an early game mid jungle duo, and Tang on this LeBlanc just popped off. Stanny had a really rough laning phase, got solo killed, I think once and then came back and immediately got chunked out again. So he had a lot of pressure he absorbed there and didn't take it as well as he did in game one. And then Tang just got unleashed on the map for game two. Yeah, Tang doing 36%, 16 and 2 in a 30-minute game is pretty insane actually.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a lot of kills for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
and then looking over to game three, Small Brains brought out a little bit of an interesting comp. Um, Victor kind of picked the Sejuani a little early in the draft, and they answered with Gwen, but then it was Rise versus Nasus in the mid lane, which I think Rise is actually perfectly okay with just sitting back and scaling. But Fiddsticks on this Fiddlestick support, it makes sense that he plays it based off his name, but and he had a lot of like really clutch, really good engages. He actually did more damage than his mid laner or jungler starting these team fights. But all in all, it ended up being like kind of the Rise Zaya show. Bori had again really good games, and I think after Fid had some clutch ults, they then Boomer Squad became conscious of it, and when they moved into team fights, they marked out the Fiddlesticks and pushed them away first or chunked them out. But all in all, Boomer Squad ends up taking that game three.
Yeah, and it was the back-to-back losses for Small Brain, which before we're gonna be getting into week 7, obviously eventually here, but that's when it got really tight here in Group A. I know that for a fact. Like their loss, it made it so like the last three teams, had an opportunity to make playoffs, and we'll touch on that more when we get to week 7. But yeah, it was very important series there that Boomer Squad was able to pull out for themselves. Next up, we had Sad Jellyfish versus Scorch. Um, yeah,
This this ended up being the kind of the show of the bot lane in game one. Marcuti and Blood, which I believe he's a sub, yeah, um, did really well in the bot lane. I mean, Zaya had 45% team's damage. Is kind of insane. But Dippy again showing his champion complete ocean, pulling out another top laner that like, dude, how many champions can he play at this point? Um, but this first game there was a lot of brawling up top and in mid lane, but Salt definitely controlled the mid quite a bit with the help of Haku. And then yeah, the bot lane. Once Blood got a couple of kills on him, Marcuti's just allowed to do what he does on the map. That guy roams, question mark pings everywhere when you're against him, and he just yeah, they all ended up controlling the map quite a bit. So, and then kind of looking a little bit at game two, the mid laners scrapped back and forth on this game too. Hem ended up giving Salt a run for his money. Then they both did, quite a bit of damage overall. Um, but again, I just felt like the combo of Marcuti's, Rakan, and then Dippy had a bunch of really good clutch ults turned this game around. So ends up being a 2-0 for Sad Jellyfish, but Scorch put up a really good solid fight.
yeah. I'm surprised to see Maokai top. I feel like you don't really see Maokai anywhere but the jungle these days. Maybe support. The last place I think I'd see him anymore is top lane. So, um, really interested to know why he decided to go for the Maokai top there.
Yeah, he had a rough laning phase. I think Dippy's Kennen went call first and like first strike, and he just kept farming him and farming him. And I thought Maokai could push back Kennen a little bit, just getting a little more passive procs, but there was times where Dippy wasn't. He got a really good freeze on him and wouldn't let him touch the wave at all. And Dippy just used all that resources to snowball into team fights.
Fair enough. Yeah, and you do see like I like seeing Scorch's bot lane kind of do some different stuff here. I don't really see Boonsters playing something like Lucian very often. So seeing Boonstra and Calico kind of go this Nami Lucian bot lane, even though it didn't work for them and they lost this game. I do like seeing them try different things. They're very, very good bot lane together. One of the best we got for sure. And so maybe that practice, just because you lose a series, you lose a game, does not mean what you're doing is necessarily wrong. So this is a good opportunity to try something different. I just like seeing that from them, and not just seeing the Swain eating people for breakfast, or his classic Jinx gaming. So it was nice to see that out of them. Wish I would have been able to watch the series because they still were pretty long games. Both went about 30 minutes apiece. So
Yep.
all right, and then we had the last one of the week, or not week, but of the group, which was Insane Banana Posse versus Summoner's Drift.
I got a lot for this one.
Oh, you got a lot. All right, go ahead. Yeah, 38-minute
Yeah.
game. Holy moly, it was a long game.
Not only was it a 38-minute game, but I was part of this one.
Oh, that's right. You did sub in. I forgot you did.
Yeah, this was just a absolute mind tomfoolery, if I can use that word instead of the other one, for Insane Banana. Because we seen the draft and we were like, what the hell? Yumi Swain made sense, but then all of a sudden we load in the game and Yumi's got Smite. And then Ghost Tiger's Hui had a support item. It ended up being an open mid funnel jungle Kane strat. Yumi came mid, got level 3 off the minion waves, barely got any CS, just experience, and then just stuck with Kane the whole game. Um, it was interesting to play against. We did really well in the early in the mid game, but it was just hard to punch through, like Malamau Mortius, Spirit Visage, just a lot of MR coming out from Kane, and they did really well, just kind of steamrolling team fights after that. I know the bot lane was kind of taken back, but Big B and Bofa did really well, just staying even with them. And then I tried my best to roam around the map with one punch. Um, and we got, I think, a couple of the early dragons, and I even think a set of grubs. But once it got to late game, Serve was the only one that could do any type of damage to Kane, but he could never get close to him. So
That
that
is
was it.
insane, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. We loaded into this game and we were like, "What the fuck?" It's like, what it? I I'd never seen anything like this. We didn't even know how to handle it. Like we adapted pretty well, but we just didn't get far enough ahead. And then Flame Dog on the Kane, he just bonsai'd himself as Red Kane into us. Gets a boatload of heals, even through anti-heal, gets shields, and just, yeah, ended up getting outscaled there.
Yeah, that's absurd,
So,
but that's also pretty cool. I'm glad it worked too, just because that's it just shouldn't work, but here we are.
it was frustrating, but then I came back a couple days later and I just looked at it because I like to review my own games, and I just shook my head. I'm like, all right, well played,
Yeah,
golf clap here.
yeah, for real. Well,
So
how about game two? How did game two go?
game two was scrapping back and forth. The Blitzcrank we ended up picking because it looked really good. I think it was like Talia Seraphine Ash showing. Um, and then Servandy did really really well into Poppy up top. We thought it could have been a Poppy support, but wasn't. And we scrapped, but I got caught out a few times. I think that's where uh, the lack of playing together and the communication really hurt. But Ghost Tiger and Flame Dog as a duo, holy shit! Playing against those two, hats off to them. Like Ghost, obviously everybody knows he plays Talia really well. Used to be a one trick, but his communication with Flame Dog. If I ever pushed a wave up a sway, I got Talia ulted I think twice, and then Flame Dog was right there launching um, Divana Ease at me. So that was it was a rough run to play. I mean, in lane and after a few jungle fights early, we did well, but um, I kind of apologized afterwards. I felt like I kind of threw that game a little bit by getting caught out, but yeah, it was overall a fun experience. I'll say it again. I appreciate Summoner's Drift letting me sub. I know they needed an emergency sub for that day, but um, all in all, it was really fun. But yeah, Insane Bananas, very creative, very insane at what they do.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we get to see them. Well, I won't say nothing. I won't say nothing. Well, no, I can say this. Hopefully we get to see them next split. I will say that. But
Yeah.
I don't want to say nothing about week 7. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Let's go ahead and let's talk. We don't have to talk nothing about the series. Jokes on me because Team L forfeited. All right, so let's talk Big Back Laners Zoomers
Uh,
series.
you're gonna notice an interesting jungle pick in this first game.
Yo, stand by with the Zoe jungle. I remember hearing about this a little bit. Maybe you said something to me at one point
I
too,
think I
but
messaged you like, bro,
yeah.
check out this game one. This was interesting. So with me subbing in as an emergency last game, I felt really bad for telling these two teams that I would cast it. So I ended up casting over the replay of this, which is on the YouTube channel. When I loaded into this, I kind of just looked at that like, what the hell? And Zoe didn't even go Faded Ashes either. Like it was just a straight up just mid lane Zoe build. Um, and it was cool. It was a new dynamic. She got off a lot of really really good bubbles, and combine that with Afterpack, getting decently ahead on LeBlanc. There was a lot of damage getting thrown out from that mid jungle duo. Um, I think the only issue with that kind of mid jungle duo is they can get outscaled, which is kind of what happened this game right here. Low the man building Whitson and Maul Mortius, Renekton building Maul, Jarvan just naturally being tanky. They ended up just not being able to punch through this front line. But Load the Man had some insane team fights, as he normally does. He's just an insane AD carry. So
Yeah. Hey, anybody who watches this recording, my bad. I was totally like doing something and I clicked the button and I know I switched some stuff over. I'm sorry. Ahead of time. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Just
hmm
just have a laugh. Just have a quick laugh when you see that happen. Anyways, yeah. So let's talk about game 2.
Game two, a little more standard draft. um, it stood out that Low the Man went Samira. I mean, I assume a man of his caliber of skill can play literally anything. But I kind of thought this was a unique pick. It made sense looking at the Zoomers draft. I mean, you have triple melee plus Lucian, but ultimately, I don't think he got off the ground as much as Samira could. But also after pack Silas, like looking at the ults he can steal, being a Mumu Lissandra Blitz, it was he put on a clinic on when to steal ults and when to use them as a Silas player.
Yeah, and I'm just not surprised that you see Silas here, right? Like Silas
Yeah.
and Mumu, you want that, man. You want to take that. Lissandro's really good too. The Blitzcrank R is disgusting. The Silas got so much value right here for Afterpack. Uh, so I am definitely not surprised by that. I'm kind of looking
Yeah.
over the scores here, and this was a quiet game from Low the Man, by the way. Obviously, Zoomers did win this game, but yeah, very quiet. Only 2-5-3. So we talk a lot about him being MVP, right? We've talked about it many times, but performances like that certainly can knock you off a little bit and can maybe ruin your chances. I don't know. I can't speak on it, but you know,
I mean,
uh,
he
you know,
he he set himself up to be like really prevalent in team fights. Like he would always get to his S rank, but it's just that trying to dive into a Silas that's sitting on either a Mumu Lissandra on or Blitz ult, like all three ults stop Samira from doing what she wants to do. So it became really, really hard for him to play the game.
yeah, and I can understand that too. Like they had a really nice setup to CC him out. The Wukong, obviously the Silas. I think the chains can be blocked, but it's not as easy as it is with like certain abilities, just because he can just W you instead of chains. And if you use your little wind
Yeah.
wall, you're gonna get kind of baited, and then he'll just eat you right afterwards.
Yeah, another small little shout out to CC Star on this Wukong. He definitely put a lot of pressure onto the top side of the map, which meant after Pac has then like attacked the bot side once he got some kills. So CC definitely shined in this game too.
Nice, nice. Yeah, he's been someone I've watched a couple times now, and I've been pretty impressed with as far as the top laners go. But we'll jump into game three real quick, and we'll finish up this series. I see that again. Zoomers was able to pull off the victory in a 24-minute game, so pretty quick once again. And they again they dealt with low demand. They kept them down in this game. Only 2-5-5, and I'm really not seeing much anybody else in this team able to do enough to really pick up the slack there. Was there anything of note for this last game here?
Diana got off to a really hot start. I think at one point she was like 4-0 or 5-0, and then if Diana gets ahead, she still does an insane amount of damage. And then it's also Diana Yasuo. Like if Low the Man gets hit with a Diana Q, it's just E R. You can't flash out of it, and then Yasuo just presses R, and yeah, you're kind of dead from there. So I think Zoomers drafted really well these last two games to answer any potential pop off from like the bot side of the map of BBL.
Nice, nice. All right, well let's move on to I believe only one more game, and that was going to be Washed Up Gamers versus MTE, and then we can finally get into Week 7, which I see. I see screenshots. What is going on? Okay, all right. I'm just going to open the screenshots. I'm fine with the screenshots. It's not what I mean by what's going on. Like, what is happening? Like, why is the system so messy?
Yeah, and actually, this game. Do you only see game 1 on Battlefy?
I see both games. I actually have. They put the screenshots on there. They put 2 screenshots. Do you see that?
Okay. No. It might just be because you're an admin or something like that.
Oh, that could be the case. It's possible. I'm not for sure. But yeah, so I mean, the 2 games I'm seeing, I'll go over this first one I'm seeing. It was a 21-minute victory for the side of Washed Up Gamers, where Soup once again pulls out the Amumu. I just don't understand why nobody gives him this champion. We saw you play, by the way. I did see that you pulled out a Nivea and you filled in this. So you get to fill in for 2 teams this week. This was nice. Nice.
I was originally asked to sub for Washed Up. Me and Souls have played on a couple different teams in the past in this Midwest League, and this was the original like, hey, I was subbing, but then when what was it? Summoner's Drift needed an emergency sub. I was like, well, I hate forfeits as much as you do, so we'll make this work. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, got the bird game 1.
Yeah, and you did really well. I can't see none of like the percentages of damage or nothing, but I can see you at 4-on-4, so you definitely had a nice game. MTE, we always talked about them, and they were troopers this entire split, man. I've said it multiple times. Just troopers, and I want to say thank you to them for playing, and they're still staying active in the captain's lounge. MT JMac has still been active. Their team is still being active. I love seeing that, even though they're obviously aware that they're done for the split. They enjoy the community, and we enjoy you guys. So I want that to be known. My goal, with that being said, something I really would like to do, and this is going to be because of teams like yourself, is to really work hard to try to get a lower league set up so you guys can compete with people that are equal to your elos, because I just feel like that's how it should be. So that will be a goal of mine for sure. But where to find those teams, that's a whole other question. But I'll definitely try. But yeah, so you guys did end up losing here to Washed Up Gamers, and just stop giving Soup the Amumu, man. Stop it.
He is pretty crazy on that.
Yeah. Now he goes Kayn in game 2. Okay. 10, 4, and 5 on that Kayn. Disgusting. I'm assuming blue Kayn based on the Dark Harvest.
That is, yeah, it was blue Kayn.
Yeah. And we see Singed. I feel like that champion never gets any playtime ever. So I like seeing that too.
There is some backstory on Souls' Singed. He busted it out in the Rec League finals when the last split happened. He just randomly Just, hey, I'm gonna play Singe this game. Oh, okay, cool. And so he pulled it out, and I think he got first blood at like 3 or 4 minutes. Like at level 1, he got first blood. We're like, what the? Okay. And top lane kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, surprising into set early at least. That's interesting. But MT Marshall, I always was something I wanted to point out. Performed really well in a lot of these games we watched in the mid lane for MTE. And as you can see, 3-6-1 had
Hmm.
probably the best performance even in this game here for his team, but wasn't able to get the victory. Do you see the Nunu as well? Did we see any Nunu at all? Was this the first Nunu we seen?
It strikes me as the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to know why they picked the Nunu, but also just like I feel like the champion can be really just super broken, but only if it's solo queue. I just don't see it being really good in team play, unfortunately. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody could tell me, and they're gonna just like put in the chat, "You're wrong, Jake. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. He played the Nunu actually really well. Him and Marshall ganked me quite a few times in mid lane, and he waited until after I would like Zoe R forward, and I'm like, okay, perfect time to gank, and I'm dead. That was like both of my deaths.
Yeah.
But Marshall played the lane really, really well. He actually stood out.
This guy is a dirty inter. I'm talking about CLT.
It was. I think I R'd forward and I seen Nunu come, and I was like, all right, that was dumb of me. All right.
All
Like
right.
it was a touch of disrespect there, and they put me in my place.
Yeah.
I admit it. I give him credit.
Respect. All right. Well, now we'll go ahead and we'll jump over here to week 7, the lauded big final week of the regular season. This was tying up all playoff loose ends. Coming into this week, what I did know, and I did keep track of a little bit because even though I haven't been playing or taking part in a lot of the stuff in the league at the moment, I still was kind of just keeping a little eye on things when I could. And I did see the standings were really tight here in Group A, specifically towards the bottom. Of course, the top of the group was more than likely going to be pretty much unaffected, just due to the fact that I know that Sad Jellyfish pretty much beat everybody that could touch them. The only team that had beaten them was Insane Banana Posse, and they were fighting for a playoff seed. So it came down to two key matchups. The first one was Small Brain No Mechanics versus Scorch. And that was the first one we're going to talk about then. And it was one of the earlier matchups of the week too, because a lot of series were played on like Sunday, right? Or a decent amount played on
Uh,
Sunday, I thought.
yeah.
Yeah,
This one was on Friday, I think,
Friday or
Saturday,
no, I think they
and then
played Saturday. Yeah. But it was still one of the
yeah,
first series. There was only like one or two series played before Sunday. I thought like it was a lot of series towards the literal last day. But yeah, so we had Small Brains here, and we actually ended up having Zema, our former mid laner. He came in for me. I'd like to clarify for everyone, as of right now, I probably am not playing for the rest of the split. If you're wondering, I may change my mind, but I obviously do all the personal stuff, but also just because I felt like my play wasn't as good for my team. So Zema probably going to be the jungler for the rest of the split for us, but I do have plans to return next split at least. So I was just everybody wondering, like, if they are. I don't want to be gone forever. I do enjoy playing this game. I do love this game. But with all that said, Zema was here, and then our friend Tenzin Drop Ward filled in the top lane. I caught a little bit of their games, but not like anything in the full. I was obviously rooting for my boys to win, of course, because playoffs. So all that stuff out of the way. We were also against a team I enjoy very much, which was Team Scorch. Great freaking team, great freaking cool people, and it was a battle. All series, it was a battle between these two teams. Did you end up casting it, or did anyone cast it? I don't remember.
I did end up casting this one. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll let you
Um,
take the floor then from here.
yeah. No. This was a hype. I mean, there was a couple hype matchups in week 7 with playoff implications, but this one really stood out. Yeah, this was the game 1 was a really, really hard fought game. I thought the Olaf answer to Mordekaiser was really good, and the top laners just brawled. Zenma showed up a few times, and even Rusty Crow. Both ended up being like 2v2's topside. Um, Stolas did, or Ares, sorry, he did. He split pushed quite a bit, got a lot of pressure on that side of the map. Even went 1-for-1 in a 2v1 a few times. Um, but Stanny on this auction, while it wasn't like he had a rough grind on the laning phase, he definitely made some clutch roams, and Zenma had some really good engages with Fid sticks to seal up a team fight. There was a big mid lane team fight that kind of just ended this game pretty abruptly because it was really back and forth. So a lot of the damage and the numbers were coming from that team fight. It was pretty well even the whole game up until then.
Yeah, and
So
I'm not surprised. Like I said, Scorch and us, we've always battled. It's always been close. Um, but I thought it would be much harder for us to win because Zema had jungle before, but it's been a while since he's been. And our friend Tenzin hadn't been playing the game for over a year. Like he just came back a couple weeks ago. So
no.
I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. So I was really surprised that they actually won the series, and not in the sense that I don't believe in the boys. It's just like it just it's different. You got subs in there. You've got people that haven't played in a while. You don't know what you're gonna get, and they pulled it out, especially against like Calico's Zillion, for example. Calico's unbelievable on the Zillion. Like just one of the best Zillions we have in the league, if not the best. Like I don't even know if anyone else plays Zillion besides Calico. So um, yeah, what was definitely cool to see. What happened here in game two though? Let's go over that.
Um, Game two, the Silas, Tom Silas really popped off here. I think that really helped the early to mid game, and then Boonstra Calico on this Syndra Nami bot lane. There was so many times that Syndra would walk up, get a stun, and then Nami E on the Syndra would just Syndra ults and blows up somebody. It was actually a really well thought out combo. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. But yeah, the Syndra Nami bot lane held their own, and then proceeded to just kind of carry the mid to late game. But Tom on that Silas, he did a lot of work against Stanny on the Akali, which I mean maybe you can speak to it more. But Stanny on Akali just didn't look like it was the most practiced or comfort pick um, for him. I assume at this level like he can play just about anything. But that one, like Akali and a Silas, is pretty rough. And then there was just quite a bit of CC for Akali to get through. So
Yeah, and I kind of looking here. This is one of Tenzin's actually champions here. He plays a lot of Alawi. So I was surprised to see the Mordekaiser performance just because he doesn't have as much season on that champion by any means. But Alawi is one of his best champions, and so them able to deal with his Alawi here, as well as just um, deal with Fid Six Leona as well. Uh, Impresses me a lot from Scorch. They drafted a really good comp though. Like you said, the Silas was big. I think it had a lot of good value here. It's a skill matchup into the Akali, of course, but it also has Leona ult, which is really nice. Rek'Sai ult's not horrible, and Kaisa just for repositioning or to keep following isn't even bad either. So it still found a pretty decent amount of value. But the biggest thing
yeah,
was if really there was nobody that could, besides maybe Alawi, of course, could really sideline against him. If Alawi matched, it was an issue, but he doesn't have to match Alawi. He could just send the Ares up there and his Yone and match it and just be like, hey, just don't int into the Alawi. We can win this game, right? I also see Rusty Crow and Boonstra having really good performances as well. Shinzao has been getting a lot of priority in the pro scene, or at least was. I don't know about currently, but it was for a while. And then Syndra, Syndra bot lane. I'm not surprised that Boonstra has that in his freaking arsenal too. So, really nice game by him. 12-2-9 is disgusting.
yeah. Well, one thing to note, and I noted this in the cast, and I should have brought it up before we went in. This was the last week of the season. That was on the 14.19 patch, where all of the items got nerfed and durability kind of went up. So Syndra slow. You'll see Syndra stand out quite a bit in this week 7 on both bot and mid.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, then we'll go to game three. And this was another pretty long game here, 35 minutes.
hmm
What was the big standout here in this last game?
Um, it felt like Scorch couldn't completely break like Small Brains' comp. They would get a couple picks here, a couple picks there. There was a decent ball delivery system with Camille and Zen, but there was so much like zone control between Stanny's Cades. You're walking through a Mundo. Ash, um, Hawkshot put in a lot of work. It felt like Mono Hawkshotted at almost like the appropriate times. But then Fidsticks had Maokai saplings everywhere. So they had a lot of vision on Scorch to kind of navigate around the comp. And then once Small Brains scaled quite a bit, Stanny, I think, had over 1,000 AP in this game. By the time I got to that last team fight, and then this was a rare time that I get to see Elise, and Zema played it really really well.
Yeah,
Did just a boatload of damage too.
yeah, I saw that. I was thinking. It's funny because I've been thinking about playing it too. Before I left, I was thinking about pulling it out even in the series against Sad Jellyfish. I don't think it's like a great champion, but I think it has spots where it works. I think here the big thing is there's already nice CC for the Elise to follow up on, so she doesn't
Yeah,
have to be the initial cocoon. What makes Elise so powerful, though, and this is her biggest strong suit, are her early dives. And I think when you have Maokai with Elise and Ash, it's actually not bad dives by. I don't know if they did that. I'm just saying. Then you got a super tank top. Though he doesn't have any lock on CC, a cleaver hit this Camille, and she's in a bad spot, right? So that's the biggest value that generally you find with a pick like this, because you're able to make more high risk, high reward plays. And anytime you can dive someone out of their turret, make them miss mass amount of waves, and get out without taking much damage, it's huge, right? And that's what her E allows, in Spider form, to clarify, allows her to do. So yeah, I really do like the Elise a lot. And I also don't think it's horrible in a Xin Zhao, but overall Xin Zhao should normally win the matchup, in my opinion. But I also don't know the current status of that matchup because I haven't played it a ton this season. It just feels like it should still go Xin Zhao's way.
yeah.
So um,
But this ended up being like Small Brains clutched out the playoff berth on this, and Scorch then became really really big fans of Boomer Squad.
yes, and then that's where we're gonna get into the other series that
Okay.
was very important. Look at that; they're just back to back. You obviously see the score there, but let's kind of touch on what exactly happened here between Boomer Squad and Insane Banana Posse.
Uh, Game one, Tang Syndra just popped off. Insane amount of damage. Insane. Just I think got a solo kill or two on Ghost. Um, but yeah, this was kind of the eye-opening Syndra game where I'm like, okay, this champion's really strong. Didn't buy a mana item at all. Went straight Storm Surge into Shadow Flame, and just kept snowballing from there. And then in the last couple team fights, um, it ended up being like front line with Victor and Poke, but then Bori and Chengi were just launching global ults from mid lane anywhere. Um, so there was a lot of pressure, a lot of stuff getting thrown at Insane Bananas. Crackler, while performed decently, just could not get the stacks and get Smolder to the late game that she needed to be at.
Yeah, and I see that it ended up being a 22-minute game. But yeah,
Yeah.
the big thing I note here, and I really like Insane Banana Posse. I've talked to some of these guys. Obviously, they're cool people. Um,
Oh yeah.
I do want to say though, Flame Dog, my friend, I just don't agree at all with the Trundle pick here. Historically, very good into Sejuani, and we obviously know that Park Archer likes to play that. The problem is that champion can no longer jungle, man. It's like he just doesn't have any ability to gank. Mid lane's too long for him. Top lane got some spots, and bot lane he can't really utilize this the those how you come in, like if you're blue side and you're trying to come in through that tri-brush up there near the turret, he can't utilize it the same, as someone like, let's say, Lee Sin or Rek'Sai, somebody that can really get in on top of these champions. Even the Sejuani, actually, you can utilize it better, Christopher Dash. He just doesn't have that anymore with the way the map has been lengthened and widened. So I think that was probably the biggest, if I had to guess, the biggest issue is you can't provide anything except for I beat Sejuani, which is nice. If you just go invade the Sejuani the whole game, that's fine. Which you could obviously do. You have Talia, but then you also have the globals that you were talking about. If Chengi and Bori have their ults, they can just send them their way towards the invade and say, hey, this isn't really a 1v1 or a 2v2. This is actually a 4v2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just that's my only real issue, if I had an issue with anything. Poke Archer is normal, just having a really good game on Sedge. I'm not surprised. He loves that champion. Game 2, what went down?
Well, kind of something to note in the draft was Victor Apple, I think, last pick Lee Sin on blue side. And so I was kind of really curious to see how this Lee Sin went, and I actually think he got first blood, or he got like a solo kill real early into that matchup, which was kind of cool to see. We don't see Lee Sin too much. I think you're one of the few ones that actually played it. There might have been one more.
Yeah, there's somebody else that pulled it out.
Yeah.
I want to say, man, Victor Apple, man, what a goat, dude. I don't know why you picked the Lee Sin, man, but that's awesome. I just love seeing him in other spots on the map. So it's cool that you picked him top lane.
Yeah, but again, I thought after game 1, Tang was never gonna see the Syndra again, and then they let him first pick it, and Ghost responded with Hui, which I thought, in my experience, Syndra doesn't mind that matchup. She can blow up Hui after a few trades post level 6. But the big standout for Insane Banana was Flame Dog on this Rek'Sai. I have not seen Rek'Sai in quite a while, and he made this champion look relevant again. He kept diving in. He was always like the tankiest person for some reason. And he was making a lot of stuff happen. He got a couple of like burrowed Q snipes into ults, the turret dive. Yeah, Flame Dog definitely has his own style of jungling, which I can respect, and he definitely picks like the stuff he likes to pick. AP Shyvana, Rek'Sai, some other stuff.
I think didn't Zema play Rek'Sai actually?
Zenma might have.
Yeah, I think he played it.
I don't think I cast that game, so it didn't really stand out. But I seen the Rek'Sai, and I was like, okay, I'm down with this. But yeah, no, Tang popped off quite a bit. Again, no Lost Chapter build, just went straight damage. Poke Archer had a couple really good like counter ganks to get some kills and some gold in his pocket. And then Bori was just kind of along for the ride here. When his divers went forward, he cast Seraphine ult and he's like, okay guys, have fun. So
yeah, he plays a very selfless style, Bori does, and that's something I've noticed. He's playing the champions that I think mostly the carries just find boring to play. The Ziggs, the Seraphine, the things that are just like, okay, whatever. I just am here for turrets or I'm here for shields. I'm not the carry of the team really, even though I'm in the AD carry role. And then Ting just gets to get the setup because of it. Plus, obviously playing with Archer there helps too, setting him up usually on some tank engage. But yeah, it looks like Insane Banana Posse did, I can tell that they were fighting. I mean, look at Ghost Tiger, look at Flame Dog, good score lines. But unfortunately, they met their match this week, and it was just like a little too late for them at that point, right? They lost to both myself, my team, and to Scorch, I believe, as well. So due to that fact, they had to get this win to be in. Otherwise, they were going to tie with Scorch, and they ended up falling short. But I want to say again, hats off to you guys. You guys played awesome this split. It was so fun to watch. So I hope you guys do return next split and give us some more and come back with a vengeance and just show everybody that you guys aren't here to fuck around. So, and play the whole roster, whole split too, as well. So this is really cool. really nice way to end the split though, as far as having two just pivotal matches like that. Um,
Yeah.
then we had Summoner's Drift versus Denver Nuggets. I don't know if Denver Nuggets had won a series up to this point, but I know Summoner's Drift had not. So this is a battle for last place regardless in Group A. And so look, you have the people that win, and they're gonna get the nice pretty trophy, right? But we have something else, right? And it's called the toilet bowl. I'm making jokes. I'm making jokes. I like everybody. Obviously, we know that me and Summer's Drift have some connection. I know all the entire team, my friends and stuff. So, but hey, man, it turns out like how it is sometimes. It looks like though toilet bowl victory did go to Summer's Drift. They were able to not get last place, so that's huge. A one win is better than no wins, right? Denver Nuggets, unfortunately, they tried their best. I think Klodovec should have been top lane the whole time, man, because I'm noticing when this guy started playing top lane, dude started popping off, having good games. Nasa's game looks pretty clean here, 5-5-1. I mean, it's not like a crazy score, but it looks like he was doing some work.
He had to absorb a lot of pressure because serve on that Jax turned around like quite a few dives, got a solo kill a couple times. Like he ended up like snowballing his champion and really taking over the game. I felt really bad for Denver Nuggets' bot lane because I think twice Parna's last auto attack was in the air to get the Draven cash out, and Arbok's Ignite took it.
Oh no,
And it was
that's
just like
horrible.
I think even Bori was in the chat and he was just like, "Oh no, that's not good."
That's
when
horrible.
that happened.
Yeah, he did ended up getting a couple of really good cash outs. I think one was like a 650 gold. But yeah, that very first one I think would have been like either first or second blood, but he was sitting on stacks the whole time. And it was just it was a feels bad moment.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Never want to see it go down like that. I did see that Calico also filled in, and not surprised to see the Zillion. Really good Zillion game too. 1-2 and 18. So.
Yeah, this week I learned he plays Zillion support and plays it well.
Yeah, pretty absurd actually. Let's go ahead and go to game 2 though, real quick. What happened in game 2? I see Serve once again having a good game. 14-1-6, bro. What the heck?
This series was a lot about serve. They gave him counter pick in this game, and when they found out Wukong was going top, it's like, okay, pick an AP champ, and it was Mordekaiser, and yeah, he popped off quite a bit. Kept pushing Wukong back, but this was the first time an assassin mid actually, like I felt like did quite a bit of work. Spoke on that Zed. I was really worried about it because it wasn't TP Zed, but I think he had a solo kill, and then he had a couple of times in team fights where he snuck in the back line and got Parna really low.
Yeah.
For his team to finish off.
I love seeing Zed no matter what. So I like my boy Spooky over here playing that. I know when I played him, I killed him a couple times. When he was playing as Zed, but no harm, no foul, right, bro? No harm, no foul. All love. Hecarim, by the way, I'm surprised that no one picked that champion. I feel like it's such a dumpster champion. Now, I don't know if this guy is like a Hecarim main or something, but like the only time I find Hecarim is good is if they have good mastery on the champion, which is really strange because he's not particularly a hard champion to play, but I think his nuance is like understanding when you can and can't do things. And sometimes that's just as difficult as knowing how to actually play the dang champion. So yeah, I'm interested with why that was picked. I mean, I guess it's not bad into Ivern, but I mean, again, like, are you soloing? It came back to the Trundle thing, right, with the Sedge. Are you soloing Ivern all game? And I just don't think that's how Ivern wants to play. He's not looking. Now, you can go look for him. All right, this is true, but he's definitely not looking for you. And if he is, he's with his team. So, And there's a lot of ways to disengage the Hecarim, right? You've got the Tristana ult, you've got the Maokai ult, as well as Maokai Q actually can negate the Hecarim E dash, and then you have Mordekaiser, take him out of the fight completely. So there's a lot of ways to deal with him. But congrats to Summoner's Drift for getting their victory. I'd love to see it.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and we'll jump on over to Group B. Now, I don't know what Group B's implications were. I didn't really get to see all that. I know there was a bit of a tie, or at least I thought there was a tie in the bottom for a bit there. But unfortunately, Team L forfeited this one, like I said. They forfeited Week 6 and Week 7. And that did have an impact. If they would have played and maybe won, they could have been in playoffs, or they could have shook some other stuff up. I do know that for a fact. So them not playing was huge both weeks, and I think that kind of ruined the fun of Group B, which is really unfortunate. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I just don't like seeing this, and it does upset me a bit, like from them to do that, because it doesn't feel like it was done just due to the fact that I just couldn't play. It just feels like they were mad about something and they just decided we're not playing. So I'm not gonna say for sure though. I don't want to put anything bad on their name. It just that's the vibe I get, and I'm putting this out there for everybody else to know that I'm a big believer in having respect for yourself and respect for your opponents and everybody else around you that are also your peers in the league. And so that does mean you should play, right? And you should have dignity, and you should want to keep the integrity of the league as a priority as well. So that's just my feeling. I'm not going to go on a crazy tangent. But let's go ahead and get into Team 2 versus Minimum Talent Esports.
This was the only series in Week 7 that I didn't have a chance to catch. It was on a Thursday night, which is traditionally a bad night for me. But looking at this team comp, this was the first series of the week, and you already seen some dominance coming out by Syndra, with Geico piloting Syndra bot lane with the Nami.
Oh my god!
And just completely running the game over. 41% teams damage, 15-0 in an 18-minute game, almost a kill a minute. Is pretty insane.
An 18-minute game is just absurd. Is that the quickest game we've had? Like, I don't know, but it's got to be one of the quickest.
I think it is.
It's just disgusting.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
it's great.
yeah.
Can we talk about this Jax going 1-6-6 though?
Limit testing maybe? I don't. I mean, I wish I had a little more context. It's also unique that he went Iceborne first. Not sure if he was just trying some stuff out or what was going on with that, but
we do see the Hecarim again too, by the way. I mean, I guess it's okay here, but there's still like it had risk of just not working. There's actually a lot of stuff to deal with it in this game.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to play Hecarim, just Shyvana does everything that it does, but better.
Yeah, 100%. And it can play safer, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you have flexibility of builds, so.
Let's go ahead and jump over to Game 2, which is an Aurora mid.
That is an Aurora mid. I don't know why Battlefly hasn't gotten her portrait up. But yet again, Geico with another insane pop-off.
Yeah, 22-3-5 on the Yasuo. Jeez Louise.
Wait, that's a Kled support. Oh, I didn't catch that the first time. What?
Yo, J-Mac with the beast mode right there. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's unique. Might be the only Kled this split.
Yeah, the thing about the Kled here is that if it was anything but Yasuo, I think it's really, really good. But then, of course, it's freaking Yasuo who can dash away from most of your abilities and can win wall, one of your key CC abilities. It's pretty unfortunate for Kled support here. But, yeah, I see Geico had himself a really, really nice game. Really only Zelda struggled as far as everybody on the team. But Alves, really nice performance on the Skragus, and Yakolovich seemed to do really, really well on the Tom Kench.
Yeah, I think Alves has just shown himself to be a premier, just AP jungler guy. Where most people were just happy to get off of the mages when those were OP. Alves is just like I'm gonna play him.
Yeah, yeah. I like Gragas a lot too. I think it's a really, really impactful champion, but it works really, really well with the Yasuo. So I think
Yeah.
they drafted a really, really good comp, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It is a bit low ranged, but there wasn't a lot of range on the side of MTE either. Really, only the Ziggs had any. So, and Aurora can close that distance for the team with her ultimate. So, I think overall, like I feel as though it was a really, really well drafted comp by the side of Team 2 here against MTE.
Yeah, it shows a nice wrinkle to the teams in playoffs that we got to deal with them. That you have this Zelda's always performed really well in Aurora, but the fact that like Geico can now pull out the Yasuo and now you're scared of Yasuo Gragas combo, like it makes teams have to kind of think about it.
So we'll follow up with the last series here, which was Washed Up Gamers versus Load the Cannons. Did this series have playoff implications? Like, if Washed Up Gamers won, could
This
they made playoffs?
this did, yeah.
Okay.
If Washed Up won this, then I think they make playoffs due to beating BBL.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So this was a big one then. Load the Cannons makes it either way. Then I assume it was all just on whether.
Uh, yeah. So load the Cannons. If they lose this and Washed Up win, there's three teams tied at 4-3.
Wow, so we just missed out on that. Probably for the
Yeah.
best because it gets complicated then. But that's crazy. So the Washed Up Gamers were so close, man. Hey, man, Soup, you were there, almost there, man. You almost did it. I really liked your team this split, by the way. I think it was a fun team to watch. You guys should come back next split with this team. Just saying.
Yeah, no, and even like I said, I know I said it before, but the 1 week I subbed with them, dude, Soup was super nice, and the whole team was really really cool.
Yeah.
Bunch of really good guys.
And it's always fun seeing Soup versus Frozen. It's just like these two I've been seeing in the
Yeah.
league for a long time, so just seeing them play
Yeah.
against each other is cool. It's cool with me, especially since Soup is not historically a jungler, right? He's learned it over the split, and he's put a lot of effort into it. He keeps playing just different roles over split. So next split he'll probably be playing support or AD carry or something. But what happened? What happened in this series? Let's get into the nitty gritty of it all.
So game one, I caught this game about halfway through. After finishing up the Load the Cannon series, and when we got into the game, it already felt like Syndra and Scion were already like carrying the game. Syndra, just again, theme of week 7, Syndra does a boatload of damage, and Vacant Tech on Scion was just allowed to be a raid boss. Um, Smoles looked like he really, really had a rough time on this Twisted Fate. I didn't get a chance to see the draft at all, to see if he picked that in response to Syndra or what. It looked like he was trying to go for like an old school blue card build, but Syndra she CCs somebody and they just die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty convincing victory by Lud the Cannons.
Yeah, and Marika has been fantastic all split. So once again, not surprised that he had himself a really nice game here, playing the Syndra. Getting the rel again for our boy down there in the bot lane. It's like fifth game of rel, sixth game of rel. Like I just give this guy rel. Strawberry just loves the champ.
Yeah, we had an interview with him afterwards, and I just don't give him rel. He knows the champion, he knows how to play it, and he knows like some of the small intricacies that a one trick would know about it. And he had several times this series where he dives in, procs aftershock with the ult, and then autos people to get even extra armor. And it's a treat to watch that dude on rel.
Yeah, really, really, really great game by him. I can already see it. I can picture it in my head without watching it. So let's go ahead and get on to game 2. This video is getting pretty long. We're already an hour and 24 minutes in, so we're gonna try to get to the end of here soon for you guys. All
Well,
right.
this game might have been the longest game of the split. And if it wasn't, it was by far the most entertaining game. It was, first of all, like you mentioned before, don't give Soup a moo.
Yeah,
Just don't.
there it is.
But Souls played insanely well on the Poppy. Smoles on the Ari had a really, really rough laning phase into Rurika's Yasuo, but it felt like they played team fights so much better. And then minus on this Smolder, once he got 225, he played so well on the Smolder, just putting out damage and doing any and everything they could. The really big like highlight of this game was Load the Cannons won a mid lane team fight, but I think they only had like 2 people up, and they went to finish the game, and everybody responded. The Nexus was within 2 autos of going down, so Washed Up ended up defending the Nexus, and then Load the Cannons tried to do like a TP back door, and it got stopped again by Washed Up gamers. So this was an insane back and forth game. If you guys watch any game of the split, it's this one. It was insane.
I will definitely give it a watch myself. But yeah, it looks like it was a fun game too here, and seeing Esco pull out the Ziggs, I don't know if I've seen him do that. So I'm kind of interested to see that. I mean, he's done like really well and stuff like Lucian, for example. Strawberry on Thresh. I love Thresh gaming, but it can be really, really hard. I think here I could see where I could struggle. It doesn't have as much potential to be successful. And then the Poppy into the Ornn. Poppy's actually a counter to Ornn. I don't know if everybody knows this, but it is a counter. So I'm not surprised Souls has a really, really nice time up there in the top lane. But they were able to pull out a victory, which even through all Ornn items being completed, I'm pretty sure at that point. I mean, he's
it was all Ornn items.
Yeah,
completed.
and they still managed to pull off that victory. So it's pretty impressive by the side of Washed Up. But unfortunately, all that was for naught, as we ended up getting a Load the Cannons win in Game 3 and take us down the what's the word I'm looking for? The final frontier of the week. No, that's not it. But you get my point. Finish us up.
First of all, kind of a unique wrinkle in this draft. AP Kog'Maw mid coming out by Rurika. It didn't strike me as a Rurika champion. I know when I've casted his games, he's a very like melee mid laner, super aggressive trader in lane. But it felt like this pick caught Washed Up off guard a little bit. Soup did everything he could in the early game. I think at one point he was like 5-1, had a 9.5 minute Roa, so he was super fed. But all in all, because game 2 Load the Cannons didn't have like the greatest amount of engage, they just doubled down on it, with this time going with a Malphite. Strawberry got his Rel, which again, if you're on his screen, he's fighting you. Just prepare yourself for it. And then Jarvan ended up like creating this unmovable brick wall that then Rurika's just raining down cosmic spittles on. But yeah, this AP Kog'Maw put in work, and it was actually a pleasure to see, because I haven't seen AP Kog in a while.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised the J4 pick here too, because like they actually had a lot of ways out of the J4 alright. They had the Dragon had the flight, the Ari had the ult, even Volibear could jump out of the ulti, and then if you consider Poppy could just eat him into the wall or just ult the rest of his team away. Now obviously that leaves the support, poor little Renata. She's dead probably, but she still has abilities to use too. So I'm surprised that J4 actually found as much success here as it appears it did, with 21 assists in the game. But it does look like a very low damage percentage. Now that could just be a lot of solo kills and a lot of trading in this game between laners. But I'm venturing to say that he probably went in and didn't do too much when he did, because he was being CC dealt with, or
Yep.
even maybe even stopping his engages because of Poppy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was what was going on. I mean, I didn't see the game. I mean, you could clarify that for me if you'd like. I don't know if that's what happened, but it just feels like that. So,
No,
um,
it felt like washed up gamers just didn't have enough damage in their comp to deal with like the range and the damage coming out of load the cannons. Vacant Tech actually had a really interesting, no pun intended, tech on Malphite with the Malignants first in the tank. So he was actually bringing quite a bit of damage on the engage. But it's engage that Minus couldn't get away from. Like every time Minus's flash was down, they noted it. Vacant goes in R's, and then Rurika's just raining stuff on it. So Washed Ups just felt like, even though the Volley Bear got ahead, the rest of the lanes just couldn't provide enough support and damage behind him. The Rel got off a couple of really good ults, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough.
yeah, no, I understand. Well, that closes off regular season. Then I will give a quick little touch up on what exactly happened with these standings, so people have an idea. Um, I can tell you already what the matchups are going to be, even without the bracket set up yet, which should be set up very, 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 very soon. It should be set up before the end of the week. I can promise you that, even though this is All Star Week. Playoffs will then, that means will take place next week. So starting next Monday through Sunday, we'll have the first round. But it's going to be. Well, let's just start with the teams that made it, right? It ended up being Sad Jellyfish getting the first seed as they beat Boomer Squad early in the season. And then that means Boomer Squad got second seed, and then Small Brain third seed, and fourth seed with the Scorch. That's what rounded out your Group A. As we talked about, Scorch and Insane Banana Posse had tied, but due to Scorch beating Insane Banana Posse, they made the playoffs. Going to the other side for Group B, we ended up having Team 2 and Zoomers both making the playoffs. Unfortunately, Zoomers lost that tiebreaker due to the fact they forfeited against Team 2, so Team 2 got the first seed. And then we had Load the Cannons making it at the third seed, and BBL just beating out both Team L and Washed Up Gamers for the fourth seed in the Group B. As far as the playoff matchups, we are going to be having what we did last split, which is 8 teams, obviously, as I just listed off 4 in each. And it's going to be single elimination. I really want to. I don't want to force it, but I really just prefer it that we play 5 games. But I know that nobody's really going to want to do it. But at least finals, 5 games for finals. Like finals, I just think finals needs to be 5 games.
I think it's fair.
But I do want to preference this. If you want to play 5 in round 1, play 5. Like I legit think it gives the best experience. And I think it should upgrade from 3 to 5. That's how I look at it, right? But yeah, that's how playoffs are going to work. As far as the matchups, it's going to take Group A. You'll get the 1 seed versus Group B's 4 seed, and then Group A 2 seed versus Group B's 3 seed, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of already know your matchup then. So we'll have Sad Jelly versus Big Back Laners, Boomer Squad versus Load the Cannons, Small Brain versus Zoomers, and Scorch versus Team 2.
Yep.
So that's going to be your matchups. And that's pretty much it. So CLT, I guess before we get to what the end of the show here, is there anything you want to say about the regular season or week 7?
No, this was really really entertaining. Overall, I hope everybody enjoyed the cast. I appreciate Hairwiz letting me be able to cast and kind of be part of this. No, this was a lot of fun. I hope everybody goes back, watches their games, clips their moments, whatever these casts will allow you to create the memories from. I really enjoyed it in the Rec League, going back and looking at it, and even pulling back up some of the Ryzen leagues that I revisit, just to, just reminders of when you play good, or learning from it. So I appreciate the whole community being really receptive, especially these last 2 weeks. Just kind of doing everything myself. No slight at Hairwiz. I understand you had a lot of stuff going on, which you'll bring up and discuss. But no, no, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad with the YouTube channels kind of taking off and people were enjoying it. So
Yeah, well said, and I feel the same way. And man, thank you so much for so far coming on this journey with me, and I hope you stay, and we can continue to grow this and do so much more next split. Of course, we still got playoffs, but I want this to become a bigger thing. It's a lot of fun, and I generally love everybody in this community that's been taking part, whether they're playing, helping cast, being involved in the chats, just having a good time. That's what this is about. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna just try to make not this too long because I know this has been a long video. But the thing is that I wanted to bring awareness to to suicide prevention and mental awareness because I know it affects everybody's life. Like, and if we are not directly impacted, we know somebody that is. And I really hope that not everyone's experienced losing someone in a tragic way. I have been through it more than one time in my life, and it's never easy to go through it. So it's just important that I let you guys all know that there is someone out there for you. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. If you see somebody struggling, reach out to them, be there for them. Support each other. Let your family know, your friends know that you love them. Just be there for each other, because we don't know what's going on in everyone's life, and we can't always be there to stop things from happening, but we can certainly do our best to help. And it's just about recognizing those signs, right? Just because someone's smiling, just because someone's laughing, doesn't mean they're not going through stuff, including yourself. And it obviously affects women just as much as it affects men. But sometimes, and this is not me taking it away from women for here for a second, but when it comes to men, we don't get to talk about stuff as much, right? We're raised in a way that's just like, hey, pick up your bootstraps, man. You're fine. It is what it is, right? But you can talk to, and no matter what you're going through, there is somebody there for you, man. So I just moving forward, just know that I care about you. I love you. I want to see you here. I want to see you succeed in life. And feel free to talk to me anytime if you guys need, or anybody. Okay. I don't want to take this any further, so I'm kind of getting emotional with this whole topic because, like I said, I've been through it too many times. So thank you all for just being so supportive through these last 2 weeks and understanding. And I just want to, thank the people in my life that do so much for me. My wife is a wonderful person. She's always supported me and is always there for me no matter what, even when sometimes I'm too prideful to talk about things. And my mother, and how much she's been there for me. Just my friends, my sister, just anybody, my dad. You guys are such an inspiration for me, and I know that all of you have those people like that too. So just be thankful, and please, if you're thinking of somebody, call them, text them, let them know you're thinking of them. Don't be afraid to, even if it's not about anything bad, right? Let the people you love know that you love them. And that is all I have to say. So sorry if I struggled to getting through this little monologue here. But thank you all. CLT, was there anything you'd like to say?
no, it's pretty well said. I think everybody's had that time in their life where they've had to deal with it. So talking to somebody and just letting people inside your head, you can tend to be your own worst enemy. So talking to people is a form of therapy to get it out. So definitely agree with everything you said for sure.
Well, great. I'll leave it at that then, and hopefully we can have a great playoffs and have a lot of fun, guys. So thank you so much for being supportive of the show, and we'll be back next week for more content. Otherwise, have a wonderful night. CLT, anything closing?
Um, don't forget to do your pick'ems. World's Swiss stage starts
Yes.
tomorrow. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Do that. Do the pickups for the league too. I don't have one, but you can make one.
I think I posted in the server.
Oh, okay.
Do like a kind of a league pick'em.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Good time.
And just a note, Havoc just put up the All-Star voting stuff.
Let's go. We've got it up.
So-
That's huge. That's huge.
So
Yep.
big announcement here.
Yeah. So voting, just we'll probably have voting done by Friday. Unfortunately, we won't have as many days to get it in. We want to try to play like this weekend. So just keep your calendars available, man. Because if you get voted in, I know you're gonna want to play. It's a fun time. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Video's been long enough. So GG guys, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you on the Rift next week, or well, this weekend.
Yep. Have a good one.